An ordinary Japanese girl became the fifth wife of the president of Indonesia. Their story was like a fairy tale, despite a 40-year age difference and significant differences in their backgrounds and cultures. The girl even converted to Islam for his sake. However, their story ended tragically. Was it pure love or icy calculation? Where is Devi Sukarno now, and what does her daughter look like after 57 years? Watch the video to the end to find out. Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get notifications. The girl was born in Tokyo. After the death of her father, she was forced to drop out of school and got a job as a hostess in a club, where she met Indonesian President Sukarno at the age of 19. Dewi Sukarno was born as Naoko Nemoto on February 6, 1940 in Tokyo, Japan. In the family of a poor carpenter, due to her mother's poor health, the family was constantly in debt. To help the family financially, Naoko combined her schooling and part-time work in an insurance company, a cafe. At the age of 15, her father passed away, and she was forced to drop out of school as the only breadwinner in the family. Dewi began working as a hostess at an upscale nightclub. She quickly became popular at the club. Many political leaders and influential people often gathered there because of her beauty. Despite her facial features, she is completely Japanese. Devi quickly learned English and upper-class etiquette skills, so she had a good income. At the same time, she studied art and dreamed of becoming a writer. In 1959, however, her life took a dramatic turn. Through an acquaintance with a Japanese businessman, 19-year-old Dewi met Indonesian President Sukarno during her state visit at a tea party at the Imperial Hotel in Tokyo. When Sukarno saw her, he was attracted by her beautiful eyes. He instantly fell in love with her and described her as an enchanting goddess. After a brief conversation at a party, they discovered that they had many common interests. Sukarno admitted that he was not only captivated by her beauty, but also by her love of art. Back in Indonesia, Sukarno invited Dewi to visit him and she agreed. While in Indonesia, she witnessed his interactions with the locals and admired him even more. Their relationship blossomed and eventually he proposed to her. He asked me to be his inspiration, his strength, the joy of his life, she recalled, and I thought to myself, even if I live 100 years, I will never hear such a poetic proposal again. According to other sources, Naoko Nemoto was an attractive toy in the struggle of Japanese businessmen for the right to build in Indonesia first-class hotels and industrial facilities. Realizing that much depended on Sukarno, Japanese businessmen began to groom him intensively, primarily taking into account the president's weakness for the fairer sex. The boss of a large Japanese company, Masao Kubo, arranged a meeting in 1959 Sukarno with Naoko Nemoto. The president was struck by the Japanese woman's European beauty. 3 months later, Kubo brought Nemoto in Jakarta as a secretary of his firm, having bought her before as compensation for a luxury house in Tokyo and put a solid allowance to the family Nemoto. Sukarno's connection with the Japanese geisha was hidden for quite a long time. Devi officially married Sukarno in 1962 and converted to Islam. She was 22 years old and he was almost 60. On an area of 5 hectares in the center of Jakarta, Sukarno built a luxurious palace for Dewi. At that time, Sukarno already had 4 wives, making Dewi his 5th wife. But his love for her was deep. Whenever he attended international conferences or diplomatic meetings, Dewi was always by his side, almost like the First Lady of Indonesia. She held Sukarno's hand, had undivided love, and lived a life of luxury in the palace. Dewi met many important people in the politics. In 2008, secret Japanese documents revealed that in the 1960s, Dewi was even a secret envoy between the Japanese Prime Minister and Indonesian President Sukarno, helping the two sides solve problems. But as she became more and more famous, she was under a lot of pressure. The Japanese media labeled her a prostitute abandoned by Japan. Although Dewey lived far away, in Indonesia, her family in Japan had a hard time. Reporters and photographers constantly harassed them. Devi's mom became seriously ill from the stress and died. Then, just 2 days after that, her younger brother committed suicide by gas poisoning. It was really hard for Devi to cope with it, but Sukarno was always there for her, supporting and comforting her. He gave me so much love, tons of love, every second of every day, Devi recalled. In the midst of this turmoil, tragedy struck 1967 when a coup d'etat took place in Indonesia. Military leader Suharto seized power during the chaos. Sukarno lost his position and was put under house arrest. His family decided to go into exile to avoid being captured by the new government. Dewey, who was pregnant at the time, sought asylum at the Japanese embassy in Indonesia to return home. However, Japan, wanting to avoid tensions with the new government, refused her. She eventually found asylum in France, which was more loyal to political refugees. That same year, she gave birth to her daughter, who was named Karina, Indonesian for Kartika, which means star. Before leaving, she transferred a substantial amount of assets and money to a Swiss bank, allowing her to continue to lead a luxurious life in France. Devi became a well-known figure in Parisian high society, nicknamed the Pearl of the Orient for her elegant Asian features. She befriended many celebrities such as Alain Delon and Ringo Starr of the Beatles. She also had close ties with French and Spanish aristocrats. In 1970, when Sukarno became seriously ill, Devi took their daughter back to Indonesia to see him one last time. Despite the risk, she didn't hesitate, even being willing to die just to be with her beloved husband. Sadly, Sukarno passed away just 24 hours after their arrival. After that, Devi raised their daughter on her own. After her husband's death, the 30-year-old widow received an impressive inheritance and plunged into the social life of Europe. Friendship and romances with famous actors, directors, fashion designers, royalty. Buying luxury jewelry, traveling around the world. Pedro Almodovar wrote that Devi Sukarno always attracts attention with its serene beauty and elegance. In 2008, approaching the age of 70, Devi returned to Japan. She produces her own cosmetics line and a series of jewelry, sells crocodile skin bags and fermentos, and regularly appears on TV. Devi Sukarno is involved in charity work, although the foundation named after her and the lady herself are regularly questioned by Japan's National Tax Administration. Today, Devi is 84 years old, but she retains her stunning beauty. She has 16 dogs and periodically changes boyfriends much younger than herself. Her daughter Kartika is now 57 years old. She lived with her mother in Paris, France, then continued her education in Switzerland. After graduation, she returned to Japan and worked as a television correspondent in Tokyo. When her mother moved to the United States, Karina worked at an advertising agency in New York City. During her time in the US, Kartika also worked for a private organization. Kartika applied this experience to establish her foundation in basic education, culture, and maternal and child health in Indonesia. It is headquartered in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. In 2005, Karina married the president of Citibank Europe from the Netherlands, Frits Frederik Segers. They now have a 17-year-old son named Frederick Kieran. From an ordinary Japanese girl to the First Lady of Indonesia, Dewi's life has been extraordinary. Even in her 84 years, she continues to work hard and take on challenges such as skydiving and surfing. In her autobiography, she wrote, "Many people may see me as a happy Cinderella, but in fact I have put in 3 times more effort than others. With clear goals, I find motivation to keep moving forward in life." It has been 54 years since Devi's husband passed away, but she has never remarried. Sometimes she shares pictures of Sukarno on her social media along with messages of love. Even after so many years, her love for him remains strong. What do you think about this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, give me a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next video.